everybody, and welcome to the live. Hey, I'm just gonna go ahead and grab my guest that I'm talking to tonight. We were supposed to be in her live, and it was being really weird. So, we're gonna be talking about dating in widowhood tonight. So let's see. How do I send an invite? Oh hell no. Dude,
Oh,
that was my bad. I was not trying to. You know what? No. Mm-mm. 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 No, I don't. No. I'm not sure.
oh,
I'm not even sure. I don't want to do it. Can you drop down? I wasn't trying to invite you up. My God. I don't really know. Sorry. I was trying to invite somebody else. This is ridiculous.
what's going on?
Why is he looking with the blanket face?
I know.
No,
You're just gonna
no.
stay or girl. Here, I'm gonna hang the phone. I'm gonna turn it down or something.
Okay, here, let me hang.
You're here. Are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes,
you're
here.
Okay, so I don't.
All right.
Okay.
Not put your
Oh, it
video.
does.
It won't let you put your video.
Yeah, it's letting me.
Oh, okay. Oh, there.
There we go.
Okay.
I don't know how to make me bigger though.
How do we? And why am I? Is it echo?
Now I gotta turn my music off.
He's just music. I don't know what he's doing.
I have my little music on.
That was a yes. Right. Let's fix that.
And he had the blankest face. That's what was making me laugh. He had the blankest face. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I
But I don't know how to get me big.
I gotta fix this.
Oh, you're echoing?
Yeah.
I don't hear it.
You don't?
Oh, somebody else said yes, echo.
Yeah.
You want to back out and do it again?
I can hear myself playing that. No. Oh my God.
I hear it now. I hear yours is. Am I echoing?
You're not echoing. Do I have two? No. I think. Yeah, no.
Oh, I wonder. So you did the multi one, right? The multi guest?
I actually didn't do this echo.
Okay, here. Try again. Turn the volume off.
Like mute.
I guess for yours, you turn your own volume down, maybe.
Well, I don't know.
Because we have such a juicy conversation.
Me either. Okay.
Mute one.
Okay, mute.
How do I mute myself? Let me see.
Okay, now is it echoing? No, now I don't have an echo when you're muted. Are you muted? The echo is gone, huh? You're muted. All right. Yeah, I don't know, because it seems fine right now, right? Like it's not doing anything now. So I'm going to see. We'll try to bring her back up. But welcome into the live, you guys. We are having casual conversations tonight on the topic of grief. And tonight we're going to be talking about dating in widowhood and I guess sort of what that looks like. So I don't know if she's got questions for me or if we're just gonna let it casually flow. But so we'll see. All right, so let me try to add her again. Thank you for the suggestion. Okay. Nope.
It did it again. The other phone isn't my primary phone.
All righty. Well, we're in this thing.
Hi.
Hi. How are you tonight?
I'm sleepy.
Yes, it's late on your hour. You're on, what are you on? Central time?
Central. Yes.
So it's 11. It's pretty late night for you tonight.
Hold on. I had to have all my little stuff set up, all cute. Look at my light. Everything's changing.
Expand us.
Okay.
Okay, let's.
But that made you little.
That's fine. So, what are we talking tonight about?
Yeah, I was gonna say about dating and widowhood and the nuances associated with that.
Okay. So for anybody that's new, just joining my live, or for those of you that may not have been here before, my name is Addie. And my husband passed away in November 2022. I have been in this widowhood club, gang, crew for 19 months. So just over a year and a half here for me. And if you want to maybe introduce yourself to your guests and mine, and how long you've been married.
So my name is Portia. I am the owner of Venusian Oasis. My husband passed away. It will be 2 years in exactly 19 days. He passed suddenly, and I am a mother, a business owner, an engineer. And yeah, I've been walking this journey. It's interesting because who would have ever thunk it? And now, even 2 years in, having to, when people do the call, like, are you married? Or all the married people, I forget sometimes. I'm like, oh, like, I'm single. I repeat that often. Like, I'm single. Like, he's not here. But I wanted to just talk tonight to just get your take on what it's been like for you, or if you are dating. It has been many considerations for me. The dating it makes me giggle because being married for we were married for 8 years. This year would have been our 10-year anniversary, but we were together forever. And now stepping back out, it's like a whole new world. And I'm like, what happened out here? The rules are different.
Yeah. So, what did I do? I made the box back small again. My bad. I'm playing around over here. For me, so it's interesting because that was one of the questions that I kind of had for tonight, or just for perspective wise. Like, at what point, like, do you know that you're ready to step back into the arena after such a significant loss? And I understand that for every widow and for every person in general, even after a breakup, right? Like, that's different. For me, I think that in my mind, I've entertained the idea. I am not currently dating. Nobody is in my inbox. I don't know. I'm not getting I'm not
You're
getting
getting no action.
I'm not getting no play right now. No play that I want. So I think that like the idea has been a thought. I can't say that I haven't considered like, well, maybe like I should just put myself on a dating site. And I think what happens is like there's a loneliness,
Yeah.
for sure, and not particularly to say like a physical, like intimate loneliness, but just a companionship loneliness.
Talking to an adult.
Right. Talking to an adult. Because, right. Mom life. Yes.
Because so right out, because I believe if I don't know that I would date. I've never, like from way back when, I just don't like that word at all. I feel like it just puts so much pressure on what's supposed to be or not be.
Mm-hmm.
And I did tell myself after I met someone who was amazing till this day. I still think this person is amazing. And this was in widowhood.
Yes.
But there were so many emotional considerations that I didn't even know existed. Like, I'm still, I see my kids and I'm like, oh my gosh, you did that just like your dad. And any man that I would be attracted to, no, I was a stepmom. No one wants to hear about your dead spouse.
Right.
No one wants to sit there and be like, okay, he was great, and okay, and at the time, because I was far from even close to where I am today.
Right.
And I feel like all widows, you need that time. Some people hop right out and they can meet someone who's definitely okay with just
their process.
And I mean, to a certain degree, for someone to even date a widow, she's very different than a regular woman. So I don't see myself being in a relationship or getting married again, and I can't mention my husband's name to his children. My daughter, God willing, I'm here when she gets married. If she wants to have a big old picture of her daddy's face, he, a secure man is going to need to be able to almost want to get to know him. And this particular person, all the while, they were magical. I don't care. To this day, I will forever think very highly of them. They were very considerate, and it was mutual. Like, I know what I have to do for myself. There's no, like back in the day that like, oh my gosh, like I didn't know. I'm good. And two, I have too much to lose at this point. So
how do you feel like that has changed, or like grown or expanded since, or do you think it's changed because of this particular new experience that you were in?
Oh my God.
Just
so
knowing what you want.
Like he might have made it worse. And when I say worse, he just
Ash, we definitely need to probably get outside.
Huh?
I was just responding to the comment. Somebody said she thinks that we need to go outside more because no one's in her inbox either. And I agree. We should go outside this summer.
I don't know. So in 2024, I said 2024, I have business to take care of. There's just things that I want to do in my life for me and my children, things I want to complete and finish. And if I were to meet someone, it would not be on my choosing. It is going to be dropped down from the heavens above, and he will probably walk and have a little rainbow behind him saying like, I am from the Lord, because I'm not looking by far. And I actually, for me, where I go, and I mean, I don't even really go anywhere, but when I go, I just move fast so that no one has the opportunity
To try to talk to you.
because I've had older men, I've had men pull out big wads of money, and that's why I say it's really different out here, because I don't know, maybe what women are requiring now. Men are more forward with how much money they make. And when I went into my marriage, the world wasn't like this. So I've had to have words with a gentleman because he pulled out a big wad of hundreds, and I was like, I'm not, I don't, yes, like, and he was trying to give my babies 20s. And I was like, maybe that was to impress me, but I'm not like, they had a dad. I'm not a baby mama, or they know who their father is. Like, don't you ever pull out money and give my kids money.
Right.
And that threw him off, because like, who are you? You're right. I've been in a cave for a long time.
The point, though, I mean,
I think he just wanted, I really feel like he was just trying to show me how much money he had.
sure. Yeah.
And also, you know, with my son, he's their very first target. Like, they want to be his friend. Do not talk to my baby. So this season for me, I don't think that it would happen for me that way.
Yeah.
But like I said, my husband had set the bar very high, and then this magical person, they set the bar very high in another area. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like this person,
Bars are just being set all over the place.
like, who would this person be? Because I couldn't go backwards, and I'm not dating like in these current streets.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And that's the thing. I feel like I hear from so many people that the dating red flag, exactly, red flag. The dating market is just trash. Like, so many people talk about how trash dating is right now, and I'm just like, maybe I'm probably good. Ash, are you widowed? You said I have my reservations because I know I am actually not ready to date for real. And so that was maybe my question too, like from the beginning, just like, is there a ready? Like, how do you know that you're ready? Just when that person with the magical unicorn tail sent from heaven comes along? Or like, do you, Portia, feel ready to, and maybe not date, like ready to connect with someone else? Put it that way.
Okay, so I wouldn't say that I'm not ready, and I wouldn't say that I'm ready. Because even with my magical person, that was so unexpected. Like, it just came, and it was like, I believe that it will just end up being someone that I'm connected to. It's not going to be the conventional way. It's not going to be, hey, what's up? Can I get your number? Or pulling out a wad of money. I don't think that that's going to, because I'm not like that. Also, another thing that's very difficult. Oh my gosh, I had this guy. You want to hear a funny story?
Yeah, I do. I'm trying to figure out how to get you back big.
Oh. I got to tell you a funny story.
Okay, go ahead. There we go.
So this guy, it was a Friendsgiving. Someone invited us, me and my babies, to a Friendsgiving. And I'm not social. I mean, I'm social. I'll speak to people, but I'm very selective, you know, about my world and who gets to see what in it. So I go to this party, and their house was a beautiful house, but the floor plan was like wide open. So everyone's playing games and talking, and this man, he had a very nice body. Very nice body.
You did this. So is this from the head down, from the neck down? Okay.
He wasn't ugly, but not me. Like, I like chocolate boys, but, or chocolate men. And so I was just like, why is he staring like that? And some things just make me so uncomfortable. So he finally, I guess, builds up the nerve to speak to me. Very articulate, very smart. But girl, I was like, okay, I'll give you my phone number. Sure. It was such an awkward situation. I was more so embarrassed because people who were there knew my husband. So it was that initial, like, they see me talking to somebody else. Because, you have to, like, detach from that too. Like, he's not here, but other people still have feelings about him and his fan. And I was like, yeah, I'm a widow. He's like, well, what does that mean? I was like, well, I mean, I would employ you to do your research. You're not dating a regular woman. Like I'm not on the hunt. I'm not any of that. So we end up standing there talking, but he took my whole night as I was trying to walk away. Like some other guys were trying to come and like get him to stop talking to me. He just kept. And I was like, I don't want to be rude, but I need to find a line to say that isn't rude, but just no, thank you. So anyways, I gave him my phone number. He called me like 3 days later, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm at home."
3-day rule.
Yeah, like, come to find out, girl, he was newly divorced from a 20-year marriage. 20-year marriage. Told me that it was like 3 months. I mean, no, 6 months or something like that. He had only been divorced for 3. And I was like on the phone talking in my house. Like, I was like, I'm not even comfortable talking to you in here. Like, it just feels wrong. So, no, thank you. I think I've changed my mind. He gives me a whole scenario. When you swim, I mean, when a person is learning to swim, you are initially afraid to get into the water, but if you have a good swim coach, you get in. I was like, no, I don't want it. He ended up yelling at me and hanging up in my face because I was like, no, thank you. And he just
didn't want him to be the swim coach.
I was like, no. I was like, I'm not. So I don't think it's gonna be. I don't feel like it's gonna be something that I just choose. Like, you know what? Today I'm about to go date because I am perfectly fine. Me and my babies are safe. We're good. Like,
Right. Gotcha. It's been 6 years for me, my best friend. Ash, I'm really sorry.
years.
So what do you think then about, so you mentioned being in that particular setting and being in that room, how other people in the room not only knew you, but they also knew your late husband. And even just outside of that, knowing that people know you and knowing that people know that you are widowed, what do you feel like about like the stigma around widows and dating? Do you think that there's a stigma? And if so,
There is. I mean, when I've met other widows, some of the best, I mean, you have to think like even your spouse's family, people will have certain feelings about it because we feel like if you really loved him, you wouldn't. If you really loved him, you couldn't move on.
Yeah.
And people will hold you to that. So some women who go right out and they start dating, and widowers, men too, and they go right out and start dating, they're judged for it, which is, I think, is stupid. But then you have those who can't move forward in their life because they are holding on to this, this covenant, this loyalty factor to a person that is no longer with us. My widowhood, and one thing I pray to help women with, there's nothing wrong with grieving. I still grieve. Matter of fact, today I just did the kids' laundry, and I was changing their linens on their beds. And in the closet, I saw his blanket, a blanket I had bought him for Christmas. Mm-hmm. And it was like, yeah, like his blanket he would always have, it's in the closet and it's just been sitting there. Like, so I still have grief, but I'm a believer, and I believe it becomes sinful to stay there. You still have work to do. For me, I feel like you still have work to do. Not that you're telling that person or that person didn't mean anything to you. And my relationship with my husband was one of, I can hear him being like, get your butt up. Portia, are you serious? You're gonna sit there and cry today and just not do nothing? You're not gonna do nothing? Because it was his spirit, the type of man he was. If he were here and came for 1 minute and I allowed myself to sink, oh, the disappointment. He'd probably just be talking mess.
Yeah.
So all the while, I think grief is healthy. It should be experienced. It should be felt. It should be, when it comes, let it wash over you. I do not believe that you should stay in that you have got to find something that pulls you out, because you are still living. You're still in the land of the living. And if you believe in God, we know that, we don't control anything. Nothing belongs to us. When my husband left this world, it was his time to go. And I mean, not everybody dies the same way. Not everybody leaves out of their body the same way. Some people are taken.
Right.
Some people hurt themselves.
Right.
But you've gotta, for me, my source has been my Lord and Savior, period. And I meet widows and they're like, how do you widow? How do you widow so good? I accept the life cycle. Today was one last day that I'm gonna live.
Yeah.
And the devastation of it keeps us from walking in our assignment. And so I wasn't okay with that. Like I said, I told you before, like year 2 sucked. I was like, year 3 can't suck that bad. Year 2.
Yeah.
Every milestone of year 2 too. Like year 2 sucked. It just sucked. And
all the clarity that just was not there in year, because you don't know what to expect year 1. You're just going through the motions and floating through and happy you woke up and took a shower and got dressed that day. But in year 2, you're like, it's like there's no more anesthesia. Like you're awake for it all. We're gonna rip the Band-Aid off now so you can feel it a little more.
Yes. You're in this.
Yeah.
He's not coming back. Like and not that I was thinking he would come back, but like,
of course,
that year 1 is shock. I feel like at least half of year 1 is like snapshots in my mind.
Yeah.
Of, but year 2, no, you really have to have a cadence to mow the lawn. And when the tree has to get cut, you got to find the person and the AC unit and all of the things that he did. Mm-hmm. No, they're yours. They're yours. Your car broke. And you got these kids and you have so everything. Because his birthday is coming, his birthday is 2 days before his death day. But for me, and I go to therapy. Oh, it is the hardest. And out where I live in Texas, so there's like lizards. There's lizards. There are bugs. There's cicadas. I'm from California, but I moved here to be with him. And those moments caused me to break down at times too. Like, wait a minute. Like, there's a lizard and there was a snake in my backyard and my baby boy, he's having to kill the snake. I don't know.
Tell it.
Girl. So I was like, okay, so the front of our house, like when my husband was alive, our lawn was like the best lawn in the neighborhood. We have St. Augustine grass. Our bushes were perfectly square. He was serious. I have every tool you can think of to do a lawn. Like I have everything. The edger, the shaper, the all of it. And he used to make me get up with him and learn how to use the tools. And I didn't want to. I would talk mess. But So for me and my grief, I know the front of the house has to be presentable. That's a standard in my mind that makes me feel better. Cause if I drive by the front of the house, I'm like, if he saw the lawn, oh my gosh, he would flip a wig. So I'll do the front. What did you say?
So you would be in trouble.
Yes. So I'm like, okay, I did the front. I did it. But I totally forgot about the back, right? So it's in the winter. The kids aren't going out there. And the back of the house is usually very shaded. So like, I don't always open our blinds. So I wasn't looking in the yard. I totally forgot to look in the yard. I looked out there like weeds were as tall as me. They're like this tall. I was like, oh my gosh. So immediately I'm like, I can't go out there. I know animals are living in it. But then the quotes I was getting for people to come and cut it was ridiculous. And I was like, I can hear him. You got all the tools. Get your butt out there and cut it, Portia. Just do it. I go out there. I put on his big rain boots. I go out there. And I'm like looking, I have on long sleeves, like everything is covered because I know there's animals in it. I know. And our yard is like it's huge. It's like way back and there's a big tree in the back and it's shaded. So I was like, I know leaves have fallen. It was a mess. Mm-hmm. And I start cutting, girl. And I go over one part and all of a sudden I see a big old brown, it was like going. I scream bloody murder. Now my babies are under we have like a carport and they're playing on their scooter. And so my baby boy, he comes and he's like, Mommy, what is it? I was like, oh my gosh, it's a snake. It's a snake. He was like, can I kill it? I was like, okay. So he goes and gets the garden hoe and he goes out and he's like, where is it? And he's moving the leaves and it's just, it was ridiculous. It's making me itch right now. My baby chopped it in half like it wasn't nothing. And he was like, Daddy told me to take care of the girls. So I did it. And he went right back to his scooter. And I'm like, I started crying. Like, he did tell him that. But yeah, so yes, cutting and mowing the lawn, it's a whole experience. It's a whole thing. Like, and now I got to get a tree cut. Don't even get me on the quote for that. Like, yeah, so it's a thing sometimes, but I don't allow myself to stay there because life is still good. I can still be happy. I can still laugh. Oh, shoveling snow. I can't even imagine the snow, girl. Like she said, she's in Michigan and still shoveling the snow makes her cry. You think back to like all of the things that they would, in my marriage, I used to want to kill him at least 4 times a day. Like, I feel like you're not doing anything and I always have the kids and all the things I would complain about. But truth be told, he was out there mowing the lawn.
Like spotlight. Like you did a lot, actually.
I mean,
Sylvia, nobody is looking forward to any of it, babe. But you know what? Everybody's different. Your year 2, it may be a breeze. It
builds you, though. Even if it's hard, just remember I said it. It builds you. It will build you. I feel like widows are. I tell people this all the time, and some women aren't very deep into Christ. There is no other way for me. Like Jesus is coming. And you think of the Bible, if you've ever read it, if you studied it, if you understand it, there's no other title that he gives when someone passes away. And I'm not diminishing or if anyone has lost other people, if our parents die, it's painful. If our children die, it's painful. I can't imagine what that would feel like. Our siblings pass away. He only gave a title for that, and he calls us widows and widowers because your life, when they die, you die. That version of you is gone because you were not seen as Portia and her husband. You were seen as one unit, and one of them is gone. I'm not that anymore.
Right.
So even though it it may hurt, character is being built, and you are special. And if you believe in God, He promised us, and I remind Him daily of the promises. You promised. He did. He said He will take care of the widows. So for me, there is no way that I'm going to deviate in obedience to what God calls me to do, because there's no way that I should be sitting here by myself, that I haven't lost everything that and not everybody's experience is the same, but I know He promised me, and I implore anybody who's watching, call on that promise, because He promised.
Yeah. Amen. Okay. So I have another question. Guilt and loyalty. So we're talking about dating in widowhood and what that looks like. How do you feel like a sense of guilt, or like we said before about families or outsiders kind of, giving their judgy eyes about you moving forward? Do you feel like moving forward, and I don't like to say moving on, because at least for me right now, in where I'm at in my grief experience, moving on still sounds much to me like leaving them behind, right? But moving forward, does it feel like a lack of loyalty? Or can you see how it can be that way?
Oh yeah. For me, with my let's just call it my majestic situation.
Mm-hmm.
He and I, in our little phase of excitement, no one knew.
Thank you, Ash, for stopping in. I appreciate you, girl, and for helping us figure out how to
get back on again too.
Right. Yeah, we'll be back on.
But he and I, no one knew.
Mm-hmm.
And we had this whole discussion about like what are contingencies if we wanted to move forward, like, and really be in a relationship. And I actually did put down people knowing. Like, I wasn't ready for anyone to know that he existed. And for me, it was absolutely the loyalty factor, being judged, being thought of like, you've moved on too fast, or but I mean, for me and my grief, if I'm honest, at the time that my husband passed away, I was angry. Like, you don't have rational thoughts,
right,
when shock comes. You just have thoughts. Right. So I remember thinking, what a good day to die. Now I'm here by myself. Like, and it was in anger, Mm-hmm. So parts of me at the time, I hadn't explored everything that it meant to now suddenly be single. Thank God this person was very, very gentle and delicate and honest about, what he was able to withstand or endure, because I didn't want to hurt him, and he didn't want to do the same. And till this day, it's still very, I haven't seen him, but it's very kind. But it is that loyalty thing at the time was very like, now.
Hey Jay, how you doing tonight, girl?
Look, I forget to read the little comment.
Jay. She's one of my TikTok friends.
Oh, okay. But I think now, after experiencing that level of bliss, because it was my relationship or time with him
Yeah.
was very blissful and whimsical and like a dream and all of the things. It was beautiful. After experiencing that, once we parted, I felt like the heartbreak was like insane. It was almost as bad as the death, like grieving that this didn't work now too. Like I lost that and I'm losing this. So I decided that I was gonna give myself clear time, like clear. I'm not gonna be swept off my feet by anyone. 2024 was going to be the year of self-discovery, finishing, hard work, and pouring myself out to service.
Yeah.
And so my line has now become, if someone is interested, I'm not available. And not that I'm not available because of who they are, I'm being honest. I don't know who they are. I'm not available because I don't have the capacity to pour into you as a woman should. Like I really don't. Like I don't have it. So I don't think that I would feel guilty now, but I know that I'm like blocking them.
Yeah. I would probably think for me, I feel like guilt would be, you know what? So I was going to say a timing thing to some degree, but I actually take that back because you can be 5 years in and begin to step out there and still have that sense of feeling some type of guilt. But I think that just ties back to readiness, and just knowing when you're kind of ready to, I would say, allow someone into your new space, right? Not even like I'm ready to go out there. No, I'm ready to allow someone else to come into my life and my space and my experience. And maybe
I keep thinking though, like even as I allow like my mind to explore that stuff, I be like, what does that even look like? Like I have, like
you gotta go through the whole like, hi, how are you? Who are you? And pouring out, and it's like that's the part to me that like feels really like ick, is just like this person, our spouses, they knew us inside out, left and right, up and down. And so and granted, there are major things that change, right? And I think that's another part too, though, is as you get to know this sort of new version of yourself because of what is being built in you at this time, like maybe the introductions are necessary. Like maybe we have to put out there the small talk of who we are now versus whatever. But to me, like all that small talk, getting to know you and like you knowing anything about nothing and me trying to figure out what parts to share right away and not share right away.
Who are you really? Who are you in private? I mean, like,
feels like a lot.
Because, I mean, okay, so when I came into it, I didn't, came into being married, I didn't have any children of my own. I had one bonus son. And being on the other side of being a bonus mom or a stepmom, I remember. And he was the first relationship that I ever had with anyone that had a child. Mm-hmm. And when I tell you every apprehension I had of doing such a thing, I experienced. So I know as a person coming into a relationship with someone with children, what the apprehensions are, right? Like it was all bad initially in our dating phase. Like he had because people have so many stigmas around how a step parent is or is not allowed to feel. And I think it's unfair because yes, you have children, but just because you got kids don't mean that I got to be abused. And my stance is still the same, right? Like now that I move forward, I have to have considerations like, okay, now I'm on the other side.
Right.
I have babies.
Right.
I would want someone to come in and like them. I would want someone to want to come into their world and want to be there and fulfill that role, because there isn't a baby daddy somewhere that's like gonna ruin your life. Granted, he has a whole family that is still very much attached to the kids. Like this person is gonna come in. This person has to come into almost like a ready-made situation. And I remember being on the outside of that, looking in and being like, that ain't my kid. Like, and I wouldn't want someone to feel like, my babies are sweet, but I wouldn't want anybody to feel like that. But you hear all of the horror stories. I am still an amazing bonus mom, for the record. My baby turned 18. He's going to college. He's mine. We were together all of this time, and I always tell him, who would have ever thought that me meeting your dad, me and you would have a relationship that would last longer than me and your father. And I hug him and I love on him. It took many, many years.
Yeah.
To get to that. He was a child, not because of him, but because of there's another adult person that is hurt and sad in the mix. So that's a whole nother factor. So when I think of it, I can't put it together because I got kids. Like, I have children. That's why I say who is this person that's going to be all of this amazing?
Right.
Like, who?
Yeah.
And like my kids, because if I choose to marry them, I would have to take your hand and trust that you're going to lead me, and I can be a devoted wife, and trust that you will lead me as well as my children. And you're not going to be like, because I see so many people who have kids and they get into the relationship just for themselves, and the husband is like, they ain't my kids, send them to their daddy. Well, unfortunately, mine don't have that, nor would I do that. Like, so I feel like just in this season, I'm just trying to embrace exactly where I am, appreciate exactly where I am, because life is always changing.
Yeah.
I don't want to focus on the negative. I do believe that if it's for me, it will come, but I ain't looking for it.
Gotcha.
What about you? What about you?
What's the question? You said a lot. I don't know. What's the question? I was getting ready to go to the next question.
I thought you had them written down.
Now I had me some questions just in case we needed to guide the conversation a little bit.
What was the last one you asked? Oh, you asked about you asked about
guilt and loyalty.
Guilt and loyalty, yes.
Guilt and loyalty.
You touched on it a little bit, but like if so right now, if a tall, handsome, fine chocolate came and was like, hey, can we just go get coffee? Would you go?
Yeah, I would probably go get coffee. So I'm tired of buying my own. No. I don't see anything wrong at this point with going to get a coffee. I think, like you said, I'm most definitely not on the prowl. I'm not looking at all. But if something fell in my lap, I think that sometimes that's how really beautiful things can transpire. And so I'm not putting anything, completely off the table, but I'm not looking. And on the flip side of that, I have 4 children. I mean, one of them is pretty grown at this point, but I've got 4 people. And so again, and I guess not that there's anything wrong with that either. My late husband came in and was very, very, very good to the 2 children that I had prior to him. And so once again, there's like, that's shoes to fill. Like, he did not skip a beat with them, and he treated them like he treated any of his other kids, if not better. And so, I think that sort of like leads me though to my next thing, would just be the speed at which you go. Because what does that pace in a new relationship look like for a widow versus the pace of a relationship for someone who maybe hasn't been married before at all, or who just maybe got divorced or broke up with a boyfriend? Because I think that for some widows anyway, and I can't speak for everybody, obviously. So for me in general, like, we've had the things, right? We've had the home, I've had the dog, I've had the picket fence, I've had the marriage, I've had the children. I am not particularly dating for the same reasons that someone who's not had any of those things would be dating. Not to say that, well, to say it, because you and I have already talked about, I don't think that I'm being married under under the whole law again. And this is me speaking now. Who knows? Things can change. I have learned and I understand to never say never. But while I don't see that as something that I'm moving forward with, like, I would probably more or less be dating for companionship at any rate. But that's understood and that's known. So does that change the speed of how things progress within a relationship with a widow? But no, I'm not looking. I'm not on the prowl. If it falls in my lap, there it is. Don't ever slide into my DMs on TikTok, because I do not respond to TikTok messages.
I don't get any messages on TikTok.
If anything, it better be on Instagram, where I could see your profile.
Right?
Oh my goodness.
I don't get any like messages on TikTok.
I get messages on TikTok all the time. Like, every single day there's like 5 or 6 messages in my inbox, and people have like sent me a sticker, or they send like a little heart thing, or it's always just says like hi, or hey beautiful, or something ridiculous. And they do it because I do sensual dance and because I do pole dance. I know exactly where the messages and what videos they're coming in off of. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That is red flag number 1. You DM'd me on TikTok.
Yeah, I don't get TikTok action.
Instagram, you probably do.
I'm doing
On Instagram
studies and clips, about that kind of stuff. So sometimes guys may not want to hear that, but interesting. There was something else I was going to ask you too.
Shoot.
What was I going to say? It was a good question too. It was a super good question.
Well, why did you?
I lost my train of thought. But no, I was gonna say it was along the lines of do you feel like you have, even if it's companionship, like how you said, like you don't want to enter into the arena of marriage again per se, is that because you feel like you have too much to lose, or like why not?
Marriage is a lot.
It is.
And I don't particularly want to say hard. I know I was recording for a podcast 2 weeks ago, and I recall at one point in our interview, I made a comment about marriage being hard. And I went back to clarify sort of what I meant by that, because I think anything in life can be hard, right? So I don't particularly mean to just like, oh, marriage is hard and like that's it. Marriages are work. Marriages are work. They take work to build. They take work to hold on to. They take work to keep them solid. I think anything does, partnership wise. I mean, friendships take work as well. But marriage is a lot. Marriage binds you like this. Marriage leaves a lot to hold on to, I guess. So possibly, I feel like that because there is too much to lose. And a part of it is also too that, I've had 2 marriages, not one. And in that, I feel like if there's nothing left to hold on to sometimes too, like I don't want to deal with the legalities. I feel like I want to be in a position where, if things go south, we can mutually agree to go, and I can go without all of the breaking of the bind and the ties. Divorce is a lot, okay? Death is a lot, and divorce is a lot, and I've experienced both.
Right.
They are equally hurtful. They are equally painful. You grieve both. Death is probably worse than a divorce in that sense, because again, that leaves a lot to be done, and that's forever. But the unbinding of a marriage, like, it is a lot. And not saying that I just have like this whole negative outlook that like it wouldn't work, but I have watched it not work before, so I also know what's at stake there too. Life is very, very short. I think you and I both know that. And so I would love to potentially be in a partnership with someone who just understands where I'm at with that, and maybe they're in the same place. If we have a companionship and we are locked in like this, like we're locked in like this. And if that doesn't work out for any reason, then it doesn't work out, and there's no legalities behind it. There's no breaking apart and severing of just all that comes along with getting a divorce. Like, getting a divorce ain't no joke. I mean, you back and forth in court, you back and forth with this and that. Is, the assets that you've accumulated after the fact versus who had what. It can get really ugly for some people. It's not an experience that I want to have again ever. And I can't say that losing a partner is, that's not an experience that I want to have again ever either. But that's not something that I have control over, but some people have said like, well, what happens, if you're with somebody and, because there are a lot of people, especially like in this widowhood journey that I've met, that the partnership ends due to death, and you weren't married to the person, you were just a girlfriend, and now, you're left with nothing. But on the other side of that, I was married and we ain't really had a whole lot, and I was also left with nothing. Like, I feel like the material and the money that might come from it, like all the things of like being left with nothing, like death is still very hard to deal with. It's still empty. So does that really constitute, a needing to legally bind to someone else? And so, to each his own. That's kind of where I am with it right now. And who's to say? I just said this, live and publicly. So I don't know if y'all see me in 10 years, what, with a rock over finger?
Because I pray. Like and the only reason I say that is, my marriage as a whole was no joke. you know, and every marriage has its struggles. I don't care who it is. And it's just a lot of people tend to not be very honest about it. When you know, social media, all these things. And I'm not saying everybody cheated, because people have asked me, like, was he cheating when you got his phone? He was not. He I was more prone to have a side piece than him.
Yeah.
But so initially when he died, I was like, you couldn't pay me to think about being married again. Like, and you locked in all the times I've thought, you know, like I want to get out, like, or whatever.
Right.
But as I discovered God, right, for me, my awakening to life's true purpose, the one inevitable thing that we know is going to happen. I tell people now, you need to watch The Matrix, because that's what we're living. We're blinded by emotions. We're blinded by our eyes. We're blinded by the things that we hear, what we take in as okay. This is like truly a testing ground. And you're going to die. Everybody on this feed is going to die. TikTok is not going to last forever. Like, it's not. You have purpose in this life, and God gives us joys along the way. The joy of having someone choose you. You know what I'm saying? And not that every outcome is good, because it's not. People go through terrible things in marriages and in widowhood and having children with people, you name it. Some of these things are so painful. But God, if we wait on him, he blesses freely, and he gives. We are a lot of times put ourselves in these situations being impatient or trying to make something happen that wasn't supposed to be. I now know, I say I would get married again. And the reason I say I would is I feel like I'm so much wiser, and it would actually be my first marriage as me. The wife that he had, I'm no longer her. I'm nothing like her. If my husband came back today, he would be like, who are you? Like, you're public speaking and life coaching and podcasting, and who are you, lady? Like, I'm going to the gym, and like, you know, like, I'm somebody that I didn't even know could exist from 2 years ago. So if I were to get married again, this is a whole new person getting married. Now, I'm bringing with me all of the wisdom of my marriage. I'm bringing all of the wisdom from even before my marriage. I am very clear about red flags that I know I can't handle. Could there be new ones? Sure. But I have 8 years worth of marriage under my belt to be able to, I mean, especially at my age, at 42 or almost 42, hey, ain't no love lost. I don't have time for that. Like, I mean, even with my special magical friend, like, my feelings were so hurt. Like, my heart was crushed, but it was so accepting. Like, okay, this is what it is. And you know, when you're younger, it'd be like, oh my gosh, let's do what I call him. And why? And no, we about to I got work to do. I have things I have to focus. So I would say, you don't know what God has for you.
And I will take that, because
you are a phenomenal
woman and wife. Sure was.
I'm not even thinking about that. I can't even fully say why, because I'm possessive. But like, you have so many beautiful qualities, you know, and You don't know. We don't know. We plan, right? My husband got on my nerves so much. I was supposed to be going through a divorce right now. I'm supposed to be divorcing him. And that makes me laugh. But, you can try to plan your life. You can try to say, I'm going to be doing this in 2 years. I'm going to be here. And God may be like, no, you're going to be more effective over here, because anything in this life is really just getting us to turn and look at him. I've never looked at God the way that I do now. And it's because of the immense pain in him dying. There was no one who could save me.
Yeah.
There's no one who could fix it. There's no one who could figure out how I'm going to pay this mortgage for our house, or who was going to make these car payments, or who was going to get these kids to and from. Like, no one could help me. My family, they didn't have it to just be like, okay, we're just going to pay for your house. We didn't have it like that. Yeah. So I had to be broken down to the nothing in order to see God's face. And until we see God's face and understand the purpose of our existence here, there's going to be a lot of pain, and a lot of pain to no benefit. I mean, as a Christian, I feel pain, but I know that it's for the glory later. So yeah, I think I would get married again. Only, sometimes when I sit and I think about him, you're gonna laugh. When I think about who he could be, like if I'm like, okay, an Idris Elba type, he's fine. Maybe has like one kid, but the kid is like super nice and older, like out of the house. No baby mama drama. Like, if there is a mom, she's like married and happily married over there. Like, there's no baby mama, like ex-wife drama. His family would be really nice. He'd love God. Like, me and him could sit and, like, that's one thing I do miss about my special friend. I miss our Bible studies. We would study the Bible. He was my favorite study partner ever. Like, who can top? Like, but sitting and crying in Bible study with just one-on-one. We'd be studying the Bible together. But knows the word of God, is kind to others, is a leader. He doesn't wear a hat with a flat bill ever. He doesn't dress like a rapper. He can put on a suit and be fine.
Have you written all of these things down?
No, I just think them.
I think you should write them because,
he's going to like
holding God to promises. You have every right to write down exactly.
I'm going to write it down tonight.
Exactly.
He's going to take an interest, like, in my son specifically. He's going to be careful with my daughter. He's going to care about their emotional state. He's going to want to protect, like, and he's fine. Like, and he's going to hold out. He's not been.
What if he's all those things and he's not fine?
Okay. Because, the Lord says
what if he checks all the boxes on your list that you just threw down?
I'd have to sit with the Lord, because I would be like, God, that's really not fair. But he might be,
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
It is, I have a thing for
qualities
teeth.
Might make him.
Teeth matter. If he's stinky.
When he wears dentures.
Cricket. Oh, see,
It's
No,
okay.
you
I
making me
understand.
talk normal. No, I can't do that. Like from off rip. Like
No one would know except for you because they would be dentures and they would look really
you
good.
can, I can tell when people talk if they're dentures. The teeth are too perfect. You're too perfect, especially if you get close. It's like I can't. Okay, and the Lord knows my heart. He's not gonna do me like that. He's not gonna give me someone with jacked up teeth. And he knows he has to. And oh my gosh, if he has a beard, and it's just well groomed, and it's like, I need to write it down because that. And also, that's what I was gonna ask you. Have you heard of like widow's fire?
I was just about to say that to you. I'm like, well, while you're over here on the topic of getting all like how they look, so
I think I'm in the season.
I'm gonna read something really quick, just in case anybody on the live does not know what widow's fire is, and then we can talk about that for a second. I was just about to ask you that. It says widow's fire, a reaction to a sudden deprivation of all forms of physical acceptance and intimacy, a need to be reminded that we are still physically alive and here. And in other words, a need, like feeling hot. A dating app for people who have lost their partner. I think it's called Chapter 2 is the name of the dating app. Learned in their research that 63% of widows and widowers have experienced widow's fire, and 58% of them within the first 6 months of losing their partner. Widow's fire can also be linked to sexual bereavement. Sexual bereavement is a form of grief in which people mourn the loss of a sexual connection with a long-term partner. It's often not discussed as an element of grief, but when you lose a partner, you also lose physical and sexual intimacy that you shared with them. While both death and sex are taboo topics, there can also be a stigma attached to widows and widowers having physical relationships after the loss of a partner. So it's a subject that people can feel awkward discussing. However, breaking down the stigma can happen through having open conversations about widow's fire and the wide variety of different grief journeys that people experience. And so... yeah. Yeah. I mean, okay, so,
Well, I can say
I'm not gonna talk about it on live, but you know I've had a friend. So I think that helps a lot, or did help a lot. But I mean, even that is like not really a thing right now. So but most definitely, even let's not even go with like the sexual bereavement, fine. Physical intimacy in general, I think that everyone misses that, and you do need that type of companionship. Like I used to tell, my late husband all the time that, hug me. Like I want you to hug me. Like every day I'd be like, can you hug me? And I remember giving him this paper because I'm going to come through with the research, but I was like, hugs when you're heart to heart with another person for a specific amount of time, and I can't remember, but I believe it's like longer than like 20 seconds or something like that of being heart to heart with another person, it actually helps the body to begin to release endorphins. It is physically good for you and your health
to get hugs.
To hug. And if anything, I miss being hugged. Like, of course, my babies, they come up and they give me hugs. They're this big. They don't even reach the heart space, right? Like, I miss being scooped up in some arms that were big and nice and hugged for a long time. Like, if anything, I need a goddamn hug. I need a hug.
So I had heard of widow's fire probably, it was last year sometime. I was in this group of widows. It was like they met every week. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what's that? Mm-hmm. I was like, I ain't about to experience no widow's fire. I'm good. I feel like the past 2 months, I've been like, when I go get my hair braided. Like, that feels good. Like, or I just try to go get like a massage MB.
And I believe I spoke with somebody that shared that, or maybe it was on a video. I recall somebody speaking on that about
manis and petties. Like someone just
as a way to sort of to be
remedy.
able to have physical touch. Massage is good, and that might be a good idea. I might need to go on and book me one. Please rub me down.
I feel like it relaxes me. I mean, as far as sex itself, I literally haven't had sex. I don't even.
3 years. 3 years ago.
It's been a long time. I mean, when
her a wife so she could dust them cobwebs.
I know. I'm like, I don't know if it'll work. No, it'll work. It'll work because it'll work. It'll work.
Cobwebs. Look, everybody, if you're here, put a spider web in the comments.
Because I like my magical friend, like I mean, like I said, he was so delicate and just gentle. Of course, he didn't like try to press for any of that. He wouldn't have. You couldn't have paid him to do it.
Yeah.
In that way, like, but it was. I miss like our hangouts, and he would hug me for all. And he had really big arms, like he was like huge, and he would just like hug me and like that type of stuff. Like, even though, like you said, my kids, they kiss me every day and they hug me and they lay on me and they get in the bed with me. It is not the same. And for me, it isn't just the sex. Like, I know even if today someone was like, oh, like, want to have some sex? No, I wouldn't want to have no sex. Like, it's the level of intimacy and care. Like, you're in a space with someone who you can just like talk to and be cute with and like
tickle fingertips and just
hands and little movie nights and funny socks and like, go on dates. Because I mean, like I said, this person, and it makes me mad because he like the dates that we went on. Who does, like, I had never seen so many roses in all of my life. Like, and we never were sexual, like we never had sex or did any of that, but like the dates, like the dates alone, like I was like, oh my gosh, like where did you come from? And you're not nasty or pressuring me or like like we were both of us were very much givers. Like we wanted to like, I got this for you, and I got this for you. Like I miss that, like the thoughtfulness and the kindness and just being able, they would come over and like, we could just lay down and study or whatever. It was just, and now it's like, well, even with that, like, it's frustrating. Part of me, when our little situation ended, I was like, oh, it would have been better if he just never came. Now I have to think wonderful things, and you're just over there being wonderful and fine. Oh, he was fine and smart. See, now I gotta go write this list, girl.
You gotta write your list. You're gonna have to put it on some paper, fold it up, write your little petition, place it inside your Bible like a bookmark.
Widow's fire. And that's just because even still, if I met someone today, I wouldn't want to be hot with them for a long time. So I know I'm going to be in widow's fire at least until 2025. Like,
he's burning up. Yeah, it's funny. In some of the other chats and like grief groups or whatever that we have here on TikTok, we've brought that up multiple times about the widow's fire. And I mean, I know some people like, you know, here that are like they're feeling it, like they are feeling it. And
There are women who like,
sadly, you know, I went online to look up some stuff just, you know, while I was getting this little gathering of information because I knew what it was, but I figure I wanted to have something tangible to share. But it's interesting what others too think about it or have to say on the outside looking in of what it even is, because I'm gonna tell you on Reddit, honey, and I like Reddit, you know, people be in there talking foolish, but on Reddit it definitely was like, oh, it's a bunch of, you know, women and da da da. And I'm just like, no, but it also speaks to the vulnerability
oh my gosh,
and being taken advantage of too. So I
oh
would
my
kind
gosh.
of just encourage those experiencing widow's fire, like, don't just flop it out to the first motherfucker.
This group I was in,
because it's like as bad as it
down.
would feel.
And I was like, whoa, I don't know if this is my group of widows, because like they were down. They were, one of them, she was saying like her husband passed away, and I think a week after, because they were very active as a married couple, they would do it multiple times a day. And so a week in, she was like, no, like I've got to get this itch scratched. She went onto a dating site, she found someone, and she just wanted to, and she told them up front, like, I don't want necessarily a relationship. My husband just died. I just need sex.
I just need to feel something. Yeah.
And
there's people that do. I think there's places, I mean, according to this app, like, I mean, you got 63% of people on there feeling it. They're absolutely probably on there looking for. And I mean, you know, we're grown to each his own. You know, her husband is not coming back. And if that's what you need to do to do what you got to do, then, you know, I mean, everybody experiences their space differently. But yeah, it's a real term and a real thing.
And like you said, everyone is different in their walk in life, and the end will be one, you know, like everyone will end up saying, oh my gosh, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Because for me, the pain of losing him, the pain of this in the state that we're in, things that are, honestly speaking, things that are outside of the will of God is gonna breed more pain, right? Like you hear these stories of women who, in this group I was in, I tell you, I feel like I heard it all. Like the women who would do that, that life can lead to so much more, and then you're compounded with something else. For me, I was able to see it as that, right? Or am able to see it as that. I don't want any more pain. I don't want any more whoopses and meeting somebody who's fine, but he has cauliflower growing off of his penis. And now I got cauliflower on me. Like,
You can't say that on TikTok. You can say cauliflower. Don't say the other word. You gonna get banned out the line.
Cauliflower on their fun stuff, you know, like I don't want to be itching. And that's another scary factor in dating. Like, at least with your spouse, you know, your spouse was your spouse. Like, now you gotta go, like, people lie, and they may have something that they've been living with, and at my old ripe age, like the pool is already small, like,
want it.
So for me, as I would hear people, and I would kind of think, okay, well, to each his own, that's something that she needs. I would just be thinking, like, girl, you are bold and daring, because I can't take that risk. Like, I have to raise two people. I don't want my flowery parts falling out and rotting.
So I read on, I think it was probably still in the same Reddit thread, somebody basically was like, it was a response to the person that just said HORNY person, woman who's ready to get some, basically was referring to how they viewed the widow's fire. And the response, it was really eloquent, but it was just like, well, in not such like bold and aggressive words, it was saying that a lot of times, if you're going to go there, like it's great to seek out like a mutual like agreement, oftentimes with a friend, somebody that that, because that way you're not, and I mean, my friend was a friend, right? This wasn't somebody brand spanking new and it made it very comfortable. And so it is a sticky situation. But if there's a friend so willing that knows, like that understands, and that would do that in support of, and and it depends on the friend. I'm not saying like go get, and I don't think that person was implying that either. But the way that it was stated, it made sense. Like if there's someone that that you could mutually sort of have that conversation with for that scratch, it probably is better, or that itch, whatever, to scratch, it probably is better than just popping on the site and finding a rando that you don't know anything about, if someone is there to companion you. You're looking like, not none of my friends.
In my mind, I'm like, there isn't even like, I don't have, there isn't even an ex from the past. And I feel like all of my exes, because I feel like I'm a good picker.
Not one. No.
That I would even entertain in a phone call that was like that. I'm being honest, like, and there are some that literally when he passed, they, reached out, you and the kids okay, I'm cool. And then in my mind, I was like, I hope they weren't thinking that they would ever, like, I'm not into looking back. And then you think like some of them, I know you, I've seen you over the years. You have 12 kids and 12 baby mamas. There's no way. No way. There's no way. Yeah. So no, as I think of it, not even a friend.
Yeah.
That's kind of pitiful,
No.
Like if I was in the season of smashing, who would it be?
Right. Like, is there anyone, just, but I liked that explanation, and sort of, I can see it. To me, it's weird because it's almost like I could see it like as a TV show, right? And like there's the one friend that you can just be like, like this is what's going on, and they get it, and they're there for you, and they're like, only if you want to, and they're respectful, and it just, and then you can go on about life after, maybe. So I don't know.
I feel like even doing that, there's soul ties tied to that. Like that's just it's deeper than just
soul ties tied to the rando from off the internet. So I mean, I would still rather it be the companion that versus, just a rando.
Yeah, I know. I don't know.
At least they care. At least a friend cares. At least they care. I mean, at the back of it all, if they're friends with you, they care about you in some way. So, I mean, obviously, this is not a regular circumstance that, anybody even wants to have to be put into, right? Like, this is not normal shit as it is. So, I would just think that at any rate, I mean, if they're your friend and they're in your life in some capacity, like they care about you to some degree. So, if you could have that honest, upfront
Conversation.
that person that's probably better than, running off and just trying to find the first thing with legs and a fun part without cauliflower on it.
Start fixing my face, because as soon as because I run it in my mind and nothing quite fits. Like, it's like, and maybe one day I'll stop making the face.
You won't. It's okay.
Like, when we go to worship, I am strategic about like where I park, how I can make my exit, because I've had at worship men, another widower, and they're interested.
Yeah.
But no, and some of them are older. And I'll be like, no, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
And I'll leave, and I'll be like, was that nice to call him a sir? But he is a sir, because a sir is like my dad's age. I'm sorry. No, I don't know that and I haven't, been on this widow's fire has only been about 2 months.
Yeah.
I don't know how bad it can get. I stay in prayer about it, because like I said, I just don't want to.
Yeah.
Like, even someone knowing where you live, and I'm sure not, like, I have to plan to have a babysitter to like
try to go
have this encounter with you. My majestic, amazing friend was so trustworthy, and he was just magical. I knew that he could, come to my home, and I knew that I knew it, like, because they also had a lot to lose. Like, they weren't trying to be willy-nilly with themselves. And that's that level of like, so even for a man, if you're just willing and like, yeah, can I come? Like, that's red flag. Like, no, it's too much. There's so many pieces that God will align.
They're like doing fireworks, like literally. I don't know if it's next.
Some too, because we live by a lake.
Like, so loud, that first one, like, shoot.
And I have to go into the office in the morning.
What time is it? It's 1:15.
I hope does this live count as like towards my time?
It's not. I don't think it's going to give you all 3 of them, but it will count toward your first 30-minute one. I don't think it's going to give you all 3 of your 30 minutes, but I'm not sure. It might. When you get off, you'll be able to see what it does. Well, I just have one more little thing on my page, so we can wrap it up, or we can hit the last little point.
You can hit it.
Okay, so the last thing was just when it comes to sharing. So that being said, like we talked about, meeting someone, all the things, the small talk and all of that, right? And so when we initially meet somebody as regular women dating, going out and what have you, do you think that there's a level to the sharing that is done? Is there more sharing? Is there less sharing? Do you talk about the dead spouse? Do you not talk about it? Is that something that's brought up on a first date? Is that something that you segue into? Like, how does the level of sharing change when you're dating as a widow versus just dating as a regular woman? What do you think?
I think from the very rip, like that first 30 seconds.
Hi, my name is Addie and I'm a widow. Do you still want to talk to me?
And he may,
No, because then they're like the homeboy at the party you went to and they say, "What's that?" And then it's an immediate like, okay, bye.
But you need to know. Okay, so my magical, amazing person that happened to be the way that was even initiated. I didn't know him, but I had to call him, or a phone call was made. And the phone call was pertaining to my husband being passed away. And on the phone call, their concern and care, it was like, oh my gosh, are you guys, you and your kids, are you okay? Let me know. Not me, but
Right.
reach out if you need anything. This is, they held like the level of seriousness of what was happening to us at the time. But I found, and we discussed it later in that conversation. And we got off of the phone, and for me, it was like, that felt strange. That felt oddly comforting. And then I was like, you kind of blow it off. Like, maybe, this is the situation. This is tough. Maybe I'm just tripping. And fast forward, I wasn't. They felt the same thing. We were on the phone on that initial phone call for about an hour, just letting me pour out and cry. They're offering encouragement, and my conversation with them, oh my gosh, I'll never forget it. It was, I think, the second conversation, and they made a joke, and I laughed so hard because initially when they pass, you feel like you will never laugh again.
Never laugh again.
And how could I ever laugh again? That's not right. To laugh, like, it's not right. And I remember they made a joke, and I gut busted laughed. Like, I was like, ha 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 ha. And the laughter turned into these ugly tears. Like, I was crying because I felt guilty for laughing. I felt horrible for laughing. Yeah. And they just were so like, it's okay. Like, they didn't say I understood, but it was just their whole, everything about them was so warming. But look at that. From rip, the conversation was, I'm a widow.
So they knew immediately from day
I'm not holding that in, because you need to understand my kind of widow. I don't have time. I have a lot to lose. This home that is mine, the type of man that I would date or marry again would never want to live in this house. He would never want to live in the house. Like, he would be like, that's some other man's house. Like, we got to go buy our house.
Right.
But there are men who would be down to move right in here. Not my type.
There sure would.
My type. Like, I'm not.
That just seems so awkward.
Not my type. So I literally have too much to lose to waste my time. And my ultimate goal is, I want to see them pearly gates. I want to see them streets of gold. I want to be with someone who will or can speak to my walk with Christ. I want to be able to, when I tell you, that was one of the most intimate things that I had ever experienced. Like, my husband and he would study on his own mostly. Like, I'd be like, he's studying. He was reading the word.
Yeah.
I wasn't in it. But to have someone who was like understanding God the way I did, or even better than me, and we could sit and study about it. Like, that was one of the most deeply intimate things I've ever done with somebody, honestly. And it was amazing. So The bar is high.
The bar is all the way up there.
It's high. Do you know God? That's gonna be no. It'll be 45 seconds because I'll say my name and then I'll say, so do you know God? And then he may say, as most dudes say, yeah, I know God. And I'll go, okay, what God? And then he may answer. If he has a good answer, it may be longer than 45 seconds. And then I'd reveal that I was a widow. Because if you can't get past that, then.
And then if we can move past that whole first minute, then
You go to Bible class?
we might have a shot.
Where do you worship? Do you worship? Do you believe in worship? What does worship mean to you? Like, we got to be, that's why I say, oh my gosh, he's dope. He's dope. He's like, I'd probably be like, oh my gosh, like, let's just, what do you want? Because he's amazing. He's fire.
I love that.
He's fire. And it's 1:24 a.m. here. I'm sure enough gonna go get my journal and I'm gonna write in this widow's heat. God, he's this, he's that. But I'm not looking for him. I'm really not. I'm not looking for him.
Right. And you don't have to be. I think that writing that all down is like, remember the other day when we were talking, we talked about like the action steps, like the things that we can do on our behalf. And then we wait and see the beauty and the miracle that God is going to provide. And I think that even just when it comes to like how we would make a vision board for other stuff, it's the very same thing. Like there's literally nothing wrong with putting exactly what you desire in a partner on paper, because putting it on paper takes it from head and heart into physical, tangible reality. And I think from there, that's it. Stick it in your Bible, stick it on your vision board, put it wherever. I mean, you can rip it up and toss it if you want to, but I wouldn't, because I would need it to gloat when God really does come through with all the things. I would need that piece of paper to say, I wrote down every single thing, and this person is every single thing, right?
Can't you see me coming home and being like, hi guys, this is
my husband.
This is Idris Elba on steroids. You see this Idris? This is, and he walks in and his voice is all deep and he's like, "Hello, everyone." and he's buff and his arms are just like.
You got to write that down too. Big arms.
And he's strong enough to like
not scrawny arms, right? Right. Big arms. I like big arms. I don't like no scrawny arms.
Right?
I don't like no scrawny arms.
Little baby twig man. No. And his teeth are amazing. Like he smiles and it's like
with no dentures.
And he's silly and he's fun. He's like all of the things. Where is this person? Where's he at right now? I hope he's doing everything that he has to do to take care of himself. I need to start praying for him. Take care of himself, that he's healthy.
There you go. That's a great idea.
Yeah. Be ready for me and my little baby rugrat.
Yep.
Only 2 little ones, and they're so sweet. And tell me why. Okay, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So my kids, and I know we probably have to get off, but my kids, it's weird when their daddy passed away. Since he's passed, like I said, 2 months is coming. 2 years is coming. They ask me very regularly.
2 years is coming?
Yeah, and this month in 19 days.
It's July. It is July.
July 20th. His birthday is the 18th. But they ask me very regularly for Caslin, especially, for a daughter. She was like, "Can I have a little sister?" Who are you talking to? I'd be like, "What are you talking about?" And we can have a little brother.
Aww.
And my son, he's the one that says, like, he'll be like, Mommy, I want you to get another husband. So I'm not the only boy in the house.
Aw.
They're very like open to talking about it. The only thing that they'll ask me is, if you get a husband, what if he doesn't like us and he tells us that we have to that he wants you to kick us out of the house? Will you kick us out?
Aw.
That's their concern. That's
They're so cute
and they're so honest.
it's
That's
so
their
it's
concern.
such an innocence. I see that a lot, like on the widowhood side of TikTok about kids and comments like that. It's very normal and very regular, especially at baby girls' age, I think, to ask like for a sibling and a sister. Yes, mine does. My daughter constantly asks for a sibling, and I look at her
How
like
does she ask for a sibling and she has a tribe?
because she's the littlest and she wants a baby sibling too. Like she wants a baby sibling too. So yeah, and it's like, no, ma'am, no, girl.
No.
However, when their dad died, the day I told them, my baby girl, in her tears, said, "Well, can we get a new dad?" She said it immediately. And I know it wasn't to display, like nothing.
Right.
But it was like, that was the innocence of a 5-year-old kid. Can we get a new dad? And she said, in her tears, she said, maybe you can look really pretty and you can go somewhere and someone will like you and then they can marry you and we can have a dad again. And my heart like sank so deep because obviously in the midst of all of this, it's like, wow, like this poor baby is thinking about not having. It was so many thoughts. And then on top of that, it was like, damn, just throw your daddy to the curb. And I can laugh about that now.
Yeah.
Hindsight, like, and I know that was never what she was doing. It was a very innocent. She was crying. She was so sad. But I will never forget the word. Yeah, maybe you can dress up and look really pretty and go somewhere, and someone will like you.
With a new daddy.
And they will ask you to marry them, and we can have a new dad. And I was just like, dang! Now the pressure's on me I gotta try to get cute and go somewhere.
Find a new dad. Yeah,
Because my babies want a new dad.
It's crazy. Like it's. I mean, I still have those moments. It just when I'm in the house, like you're really not here. Like you.
Like the live last Friday. This shit really happened. It really happened.
Like if I were to get married again, I would be able to say, "Oh, my late husband versus my current husband." And you know, in my 20s, Portia be married to anybody, let alone somebody's mama, let alone somebody's widow.
Yeah. And then and then to top it all off, somebody's widow.
And then like
we both are someone's widow. That always blows my mind.
Every time I talk to you, and I'm probably gonna say it from now until I remember sitting in my office. And I was like,
"Hey, sassy girl."
You were like, I sent you paper because I didn't have paper for the printer. You sent me paper, two or three things of paper, and then
some bananas.
It was bananas. It was like 3 bags from Walmart. And I remember getting up and opening the door and I was like, oh my gosh, like he died and you were right there with me. Oh my gosh, like what's going on? This is crazy. Just just saw you 12 days ago. It was literally like 12 days. Because remember, I came to see the girls before I was going to fly home. I promised them that I would drive out there. I saw you 12 days.
And for the first time in a long time, we hadn't seen each other in years. We hadn't seen each other in years before that. Years.
God, it was like just picked up 12 days. And I'm getting bags on my porch because my husband is dead. And you're like, oh my gosh, I wish I could get out there, but I have all the kids. Oh my gosh. You're with me every step of the way, planning the funeral, planning all of the little things. I don't even remember everything because I remember all the phone. I remember it. Stuff just moved.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as it settles, I come into my 40th birthday. Remember, all of the people flew out here and we're still talking back and forth. Call you, see Sean. FaceTime in a gray hoodie, and you were like,
I flipped the camera around and I said, "Look who's
right there." And I was like, I was
spend my birthday with me.
Say hi. Because I was being a jerk. Like
he was putting this.
I was like, "Hi, Sean." And he was like, "Hey." I remember, he was swiveling in that chair. He was swiveling.
Mm-hmm.
Call me. FaceTime. What does she want? You can't breathe. And I'm like, what's happening? Immediately, I thought, your mom, your dad, almost 4 months to the day, and you say, he died. I was like, what did you say? I remember being like, what? What are you talking about? He died. You had to muster it up to like say it again. And I was like, wait, what? I don't know how many times I made you say it because I think I blocked out too.
I remember calling you, but I don't even remember. I don't remember what I said to anybody.
You were like, I remember, I was like, please breathe. Because I remember not breathing. And
I couldn't breathe. And I feel like those were my first experiences with actual like real live anxiety. I couldn't breathe for like 3 weeks.
I was saying, breathe.
And you were having like every time I would think about it, like my breath would get so erratic. I thought that I was gonna freaking like have a heart attack.
Yeah. And that day you were like, I was like, no, look, breathe. And you were like, I'm trying. But you were taking like these deep breaths, but I could hear that you weren't getting enough oxygen. And then here comes your mom. What's going on? And I was getting mad at her. Stop asking questions. Like, and I just, every time I think like me and you, of any other pair.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Any other pair. It could have been me and somebody else. It could have been me, you, and like me and you almost 4 months to the day. That's what blows me away.
Yeah.
And at that point, that threw me right back to like July. Like,
yeah,
almost moment by moment, I could walk you through what like this is about to get real. And I mean, of course, our paths are different. But man, and you endured different things, just even with planning of the service and the service attendant, and it just, I mean,
it's been a hell of a road.
And you know,
been a hell of a road.
Yeah. I just, it's unreal. He was just swiveling in his chair.
Yeah.
Sitting right there. He was like, hey, Hi, Sean. I should have said hi, Bondi.
Thought he was looking swaggy in his new
I
little sweatsuit. I'm like, he don't even wear stuff like that. Like, where did this come from? And lo and
And
behold,
you remember I would text you, I'd be like, what'd he say?
I wear that little sweater all the time. Well, not right
That
now.
one?
The gray one that he had on. It's a Nike sweater. It's in my closet. I wear it all the time.
It's great. I've never gone to the cemetery. I still have not gone.
No.
I mean, mostly because I hear him saying, like, we would talk about that. He'd be like, if something ever happened to me, first of all, I don't even think he wanted me to pay for him to be in somewhere. He wanted me to sneak and dump him somewhere. I don't. He
Lost
didn't
two
want.
times, but that's a story for another time on the business of people dying.
Oh yeah, we can do that one next.
Yeah.
That was a lot, but yeah, this was a good combo.
I think so. Alrighty.
I love you. I can say that. I love you.
I love you. It was wonderful talking to you. For those of you that joined the live, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for the likes, and you got some coins up there on your board.
Who has coins?
You. Or whatever those little blue things are. You got 2 of them.
What are blue things?
Probably from that dude that popped in. Anyways. I don't know. They're gonna add up to they're gonna total up to something for you when this is all over.
All right. What if it's like 5 million? I'll take it.
Listen, high hopes, hun. All right. I will talk to you later.
Okay. Love you.
All right. Love you back. Bye. All right, you guys. Well, that's going to be it for this live. I will catch you guys in the next one. I am super tired and I need to lay it down too. So I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your night, and I will talk to you all later.